Hendrick Motorsports just confirmed Alex Bowman will not be behind the wheel of the 48 Chevrolet at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And the reason why, a medical condition that first struck mid-race, without warning, at over 100 miles an hour, is more serious than most people realize. This isn't a performance issue. This isn't a sponsor standoff. This is a driver who radioed his crew chief and said 4 words that stopped everyone cold. And what's happened since changes the entire picture for one of NASCAR's most stable programs heading into a season where Hendrick Motorsports is already on fire. Let's break down exactly what happened, who's stepping in, and what it means for the 48 Cars Championship hopes before this season gets any deeper. Alex Bowman was running the Duramax Texas Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas on March 1st, when things went sideways, and not on the track. On lap 71 of 95, Bowman keyed his radio and told crew chief Blake Harris something no team wants to hear mid-race. "I don't know if I'm gonna make it." He wasn't talking about the finish. He was talking about staying in the car. Bowman was experiencing severe vertigo, a debilitating inner ear condition that distorts balance, triggers intense dizziness, and in a high-speed racing environment, becomes genuinely dangerous within seconds. He exited the 48 Chevrolet with 18 to 24 laps remaining, was carted to the infield care center, evaluated by medical personnel, and released under his own power. The substitute called in was Myatt Snyder, not a Hendrick development driver, not a Cup Series regular, but the Fox Sports pit spotter who was working at the track that very day. Snyder was pulled from pit road, climbed into a Cup car 5 laps down with less than half a race distance remaining, and made his inaugural Cup Series start under the most unusual circumstances imaginable. That alone tells you everything about how sudden and severe this situation was. There was no plan. There was no backup ready. Hendrick Motorsports was improvising in real time because their driver could not physically continue. Bowman spent 2 full days in medical evaluation following Circuit of the Americas. He attempted a comeback, driving laps at 10/10 Motor Club, a road course facility in Concord, North Carolina, in a street car, but even that wasn't enough. The symptoms persisted. NASCAR cleared the path for Hendrick Motorsports to request a medical waiver, which keeps Bowman eligible for the Cup Series championship despite his absences. The team submitted it, and Hendrick president and general manager Jeff Andrews issued a statement on March 11th that left no ambiguity. Alex continues to work closely with doctors toward being medically cleared, but he's still experiencing some lingering symptoms. He's put a lot into the recovery process, and we will continue to support him every step of the way. Our priority remains making sure Alex is fully ready before returning to the race car. But that's only half the story, because to understand why Bowman's absence hits this hard, medically, competitively, and politically within the sport, you have to understand where the 48 car was heading into this stretch of the schedule. Alex Bowman has been with Hendrick Motorsports as a full-time Cup Series driver since 2018, 9 seasons. A contract extension signed in February of 2023 that runs through 2026. He's won 8 Cup Series races in 364 career starts, including the 2024 Chicago Street Course race, his most recent victory. He has a legitimate Las Vegas Motor Speedway track record, having won the spring race there in 2022, with an average finish of 12.4 across 12 starts at the 1.5-mile oval. This is a circuit where the 48 has historically been fast, and Bowman was heading into this Las Vegas event needing a statement performance. Here's why that matters. Through the first 5 races of 2026, Bowman carried 2 top 5 finishes and 4 top 10 results, but his average finish over his last 10 races sat at 18.2. His points deficit was quietly growing. And then Circuit of the Americas happened. 0 points for a DNF he didn't cause, but a DNF nonetheless. Then Phoenix Raceway, where Anthony Alfredo, Hendrick's simulator and test driver, with 43 career Cup starts, stepped into the 48 and was running 7th, inside a legitimate top 10 run, when he got collected in a crash on lap 217. Alfredo was on the high side of a restart and got cleaned out, finishing 33rd. No points for Bowman there either. By the time the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas rolled around on March 15th, Bowman had sunk to last among the 36 full-time drivers in the regular season standings. Last, 77 points behind the playoff cut-line projection, and that number was only getting worse with every race he couldn't run. The medical waiver is crucial here because without it, missing races under normal circumstances can strip a driver of championship eligibility entirely. Hendrick moved quickly to protect Bowman's playoff standing. But protection on paper only goes so far when the points gap keeps widening and races keep ticking off the schedule. And then came the part nobody saw coming. For the Las Vegas race, Hendrick Motorsports went outside the typical development driver pool and called on Justin Allgaier. This is a significant name. Allgaier is not a Cup Series regular. He's been the face of NASCAR's second-tier series for nearly 2 decades, running for JR Motorsports, which is Hendrick's affiliated organization. But here's what makes his Las Vegas call-up something worth watching closely. Allgaier won the 2024 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Championship. He has 29 series wins accumulated over 17 years of competition at that level. And the week before Las Vegas, on March 7th, the day before the Phoenix Cup race, Allgaier won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series event at Phoenix Raceway. He arrived at Las Vegas Motor Speedway on a wave of momentum that no substitute driver in this 3-race stretch could match. His Cup Series resume is limited: 84 career starts, no wins, including a finish in the 2026 Daytona 500 after an early crash. But Allgaier has won in NASCAR's second tier at Las Vegas before, running for JR Motorsports. He knows the organization's systems, the Hendrick-connected engineering resources, and the track itself. This wasn't a panic move. This was Hendrick reaching into the most logical available combination of talent, familiarity, and momentum. The strategy made sense on paper. What happened on the track is what the standings will tell us. Let's break down the tactical picture at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, because this is a 1.5-mile intermediate track where strategy matters enormously and where the 48 car has historically been a factor late in races. Las Vegas Motor Speedway is a tri-oval that rewards 2-tire call timing, fuel cycle management, and track position above almost everything else. That's the kind of strategic environment Allgaier and Blake Harris were navigating at Las Vegas. Allgaier, stepping into a car mid-season with a crew that's been operating with a different driver, Alfredo at Phoenix, Snyder at COTA, and Bowman in the car for the first few races, faces the challenge of seat time and feel. A Cup Intermediate is not the same animal as the second-tier series, even on the same track. The next-gen car's handling characteristics, tire wear rates at this circuit's banking and abrasiveness, and the sheer depth of the Cup Series field create conditions where experience in that exact combination of car and crew is everything. Allgaier's advantage is organizational trust and recent winning form. His challenge is that 84 Cup starts don't fully prepare a driver for the specific chess match of a 400-mile intermediate race against the sport's best. Blake Harris, as crew chief, had to do something unusual for Las Vegas. Calibrate strategy not just for the car's capability, but for a substitute driver's feedback reliability. When your race day feedback loop is functioning optimally, a crew chief makes calls knowing exactly how their driver processes tire wear and communicates track feel. With a third different driver in 3 races, Harris was managing variables that the 48 program wasn't designed to handle. That's not a criticism of anyone involved. It's just the reality of what a 3-race absence looks like from a strategy execution standpoint. But the real fallout didn't happen on the track. In the days and hours surrounding the Las Vegas announcement, something else was circulating in the NASCAR media world. Sources described, and Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports was among those who pushed back on this, unofficial reports suggesting that Alley Financial, the primary sponsor of the 48 Chevrolet through 2026, had expressed frustration internally over the absence of a victory since 2024. These reports were flagged as unverified and unattributed. Pockrass stated directly that his sources found no truth to claims of sponsor-forced decisions, or any suggestion that this was a performance-related benching. The team's official position, backed by multiple statements from Jeff Andrews and Vice Chairman Jeff Gordon, who commented via SiriusXM on March 2nd, calling it a tough call but best for the team long-term, has been consistent, clear, and medically grounded. But the fact that those rumors existed, even briefly, tells you something about where the 48 program sits in the perception game right now. Jordan Bianchi at The Athletic filed an analysis piece questioning Bowman's long-term seat security at Hendrick. That kind of coverage doesn't emerge around drivers whose situations are considered rock solid. Bowman has won twice since 2021. He's on a contract year. His teammates, William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott, are either winning races or threatening to do so on a weekly basis. The internal pressure within that 4-car stable is real, even if it isn't being expressed publicly. There was also the Fox Sports broadcast moment worth noting. Commentator Mike Joy, during the Phoenix coverage on March 8th, misspoke and suggested that Bowman's vertigo was unrelated to his exit from the COTA race. He subsequently issued a public apology. "I misspoke Sunday about Alex Bowman's vertigo, which he experienced during the COTA race. Apologies to Alex. I'll correct an update on Sunday's telecast. Small moment, but in a story where the medical facts matter because they determine everything from waiver eligibility to public perception of the situation. That correction was important. And when you look at the standings now, you'll see why this changes everything. Bowman's position in the championship picture is critical and fragile in equal measure. He's last among full-time drivers, 77 points behind the playoff cut line heading into Las Vegas. And that number grows with every race where a substitute driver struggles or gets caught up in someone else's incident. Anthony Alfredo was running inside the top 10 at Phoenix before getting collected through no fault of his own on lap 217. That wasn't a performance failure from the 48 program, that was bad luck, compounding bad luck. The playoff structure in the NASCAR Cup Series gives drivers one primary escape hatch when points fail them: winning. Win a race during the regular season and you're locked into the playoffs regardless of where you sit in the standings. Bowman has 8 career wins. He won at Las Vegas in 2022. He's capable of winning races, but he has to be in the car to do it. Every race that passes with a substitute behind the wheel is a race where a win is mathematically impossible for Bowman's championship cause. The medical waiver protects his eligibility on paper. It does not protect him from the compounding points deficit or from the increasing urgency of needing to get back behind the wheel and perform. Hendrick Motorsports, as an organization, is operating from a position of strength right now. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and William Byron are consistent threats week in and week out. The 48 is the outlier, and that's a dynamic that will only become more uncomfortable as the season progresses if Bowman's return date remains uncertain. And that sets up what could be the most important stretch of the season for one driver and one team. The immediate question for Bowman is clearance, not sponsorship, not performance, not political standing within Hendrick. Medical clearance, full stop. Vertigo is not a condition that responds well to pressure or timelines. It clears when it clears. Bowman drove laps at 10/10 Motor Club and was still ruled out. That tells you these symptoms aren't mild. They're persistent enough that the team and its medical staff made the conservative call on 2 consecutive race weekends after the initial COTA incident. When Bowman does return, his first race back will be watched under a microscope unlike anything he's experienced since his concussion absence in 2022. The parallels to that situation, and the 2023 fractured vertebra he suffered in a sprint car, are unavoidable. Bowman has missed significant time for injury 3 times in his career. He's returned from each, but the context of 2026 is different. The contract ends this year. The win total has been limited. The teammates are exceeding expectations. The sponsor is reportedly attentive to results. Every race matters more than it did before March 1st. Justin Allgaier at Las Vegas is the bridge. He brings credibility, organizational familiarity, and winning momentum coming off his Phoenix second-tier victory. JR Motorsports alumni know the Hendrick ecosystem intimately, the communication styles, the engineering philosophy, the expectations. Allgaier won't make anyone forget Alex Bowman is missing, but he gives the 48 program the best realistic chance at a result that doesn't make a bad situation worse. Watch the 48 car's pit strategy at Las Vegas. Watch whether Harris can find a call, a 2-tire stop, a fuel window gamble, something bold that keeps Allgaier in the conversation late in the race. Watch where the 48 car finishes relative to the playoff cut line drivers. And watch, when the weekend concludes, whether Hendrick makes any statement about a target return date for Bowman. Because that's the signal the entire NASCAR community will be listening for. The green flag drops Sunday at Las Vegas. Alex Bowman's season is on hold, his points are bleeding out, and a driver who won at this very track in 2022 is watching from somewhere away from the circuit, waiting to hear from doctors. The 48 has 3 different drivers in 3 races. The medical waiver buys time, but time, in a 36-race regular season with playoffs looming in September, is the one thing nobody in that garage has to spare.